What's happening, fishing friends? Welcome to another episode. Another rod unboxing today. Today we're looking at a couple rods that I got from Halo. Now I'd seen them on social media before. I'd looked at their rods in the past. Was gonna pick some up, just never got around to it. Then I seen Mikey Balls. He's been using some, putting them to work. He's a great guy. If you haven't checked out his channel, funny dude, nice guy. He and JT Kinney uses them as well. I saw them over there with the Black Friday sale. I thought, you know what? I'm gonna pick them up. They had some great deals going on. So today we'll look at those two rods that I picked up, gonna pair them up with the reel, talk about the type of lures that I would use on them, and kind of give my all-around thoughts as a kind of a first use in hand. So again, this was one that I had already shot. I was gonna put it with the other rod unboxings, but again, I didn't want it to be a 40-minute video. So broke it out, enough talking. Let's get the tube opened and look at it. I don't need to tell you who this is from. Their own tubes, a lot larger, so a lot bigger diameter, really solid feeling. I don't know where they get their tubes from, but you can see, my luck, this would break on camera and crack my rods, but tube is super heavy duty. Everything looks great on it, not a scratch or dent in it. I'm impressed with their tube. Again, the same kind of large plastic cap, just so you can kind of see here. Halo tube versus the other tubes, much bigger tube they use. Nice thick solid wall on it. So these rods are from Halo. I've never owned a Halo rod. I've seen their stuff on Instagram a number of times. I've wanted to get something, so I finally did it because this was actually an order I got right before Halloween, and I've been meaning to do a unboxing. I never got to it. Now again, look what they've done. All the way through the rod, they have bubble wrap. I like that. Again, it doesn't bang those guides in the middle. So let's take it off this end. They've alternated, so I got two rods from them. They put the tip of one against the butt of the other. Now, the reason I got this combo right before Halloween was because they had a sale. They had a sale when you buy two rods. I mean, Halo, you had me at two rods with money off, but in this order, I also got some of the limited edition Halloween scum frogs. I know, crazy, right? Who knew Debo would be suckered in by some frogs, but that's the zombie. How freaking cool does that thing look? The zombie eyes, this looks like it's been all cut open. Love it. I actually painted a lure that looks like this. That's the jack-o'-lantern color. They call it frog-o'-lantern. I love it. This one they call mummy. Check out that dude. So funny. I loved it. You know, with them throwing these in extra, I was like, yep, done deal. Okay, starting out, we're going to take a look at the Halo XD3. Now, this is like a $100 rod. And that really does seem to be the sweet spot on kind of the budget for a lot of people. I think once you start stepping up into that $100 range, you're going to get some good products. You know, a little bit better step up. You're going to start to see better guides, rods that are a little bit lighter, you know, better components, that kind of stuff. So when you look at this, I like how they have the two-tone there. So they've got EVA mixed in with some cork. I like that. And I like the contour of this. You know, it's not just a solo taper. They've got, you know, this where it's got a little lip on it. It gets up a little bit larger and kind of molds into where the reel seat's going to be. The trigger, this is something I was talking to one of my subscribed fishing friends about. We both thought the trigger looked kind of thin. It's not thin at all, so that doesn't bother me. You can see here pretty much the standard reel seat screw cap on there, nothing fancy. It's just the graphite with kind of the standard that a lot of the companies use, and that screws on. So lure keeper rather. You can see there it is lifted up, so that is one I can put my jig or Texas rig under there, it'll hold it, or you can put the hook through the little hole there. How well you can see that, but it does have a hole in the top so you can hook it in there. Either way, I do like that it's the black and orange. Black and orange actually are my two favorite colors, so I dig this. This is also a 7'3" medium heavy. You can see it's rated for lures up to 3/4 of an ounce. And that's a good point to bring up. It's tough to recommend rods and such to people because companies can vary so much. You know, that Kistler, that one was rated up to what, an ounce? This medium heavy, same 7'3", only rated 3/4 of an ounce. So it really depends on the rod, the tip, you know, the different scrims and resins they've used in it. And that kind of takes into account how they're going to rate that rod because they want to make sure they don't rate it too heavy. Using too heavy a lure where you're going to end up breaking that tip. So stainless steel guides and zirconia inserts. So you're going to find that that's pretty common at the $100 price point. Let's check all the little deals here. You can see there, they do get kind of down into that micro guide category again. So those are a little bit smaller. If you like micro guides, these are pretty small. Now, one thing I'll bring up, this is 11 guides plus your tip. So 11 plus 1. That's one thing some companies will do to save money is you'll get less guides. So it might be like an 8 plus 1. So the 8 guides on your rod plus 1 on the tip. So you can see when it gets to the end of the rod here, look at that, how many guides they've got. Tip, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've already got 6 guides in less than an arm's length. A lot of companies, you might see 1, 2 right there. So really gonna put all the guides so when that rod bends over and loads, your line's gonna stay up in the middle there. Maybe that's how I should have shown the action of it. Back up here. Looks pretty good. That's a pretty standard medium heavy, I would say. It doesn't feel too heavy. Doesn't feel super soft like a cheap rod will. So I would say that's a pretty accurate medium heavy fast action. Let's check all the guides real quick. All right, tip and guides and everything looks good on it. Now what would I throw on this? So again, I'm echoing what I said before. I want something with an aluminum frame on this. Again, this sort of power of rod, this lure's rated up to 3/4 of an ounce. This is really, in my opinion, like the best all-around rod. Now I'm gonna do a separate video on that, but a medium heavy rated for lures up to 3/4 or 1 ounce, where it's got a kind of a soft tip. It's not extremely fast, you know, where it's a real stiff rod, but it's not real spongy. Kind of like my Celis is a little bit spongy, I feel. It's a $49 rod from Shimano, but a little bit spongy, I feel, for a medium heavy, but that has its advantages. So in my opinion, this is like a great do-it-all rod. Now, as far as reel, really anything that I've named off, you could go the SLX, you could go with just your regular Lew's LFS, $100 rod. I'm probably gonna match it with the $100 reel. Hold on. Why not? We're talking about a do-it-all combo. I'm gonna grab one of my favorite do-it-all reels, the regular old Lew's LFS. This is an old one of mine. I've had it for, gosh, I don't know how long now, but great all-purpose reel. This happens to have braid on it. I was using it for frogging, but you know, throw 15 or 17 pound fluoro on this and you can do almost anything. Obviously you can't do top water, but any of your throwing moving baits, swim jigs, chatter baits, spinner baits, buzz baits, you know, you're gonna be reeling, keeping that quick, so it doesn't matter if you have fluoro. Texas rigs, lighter jigs, you know, 3/8 ounce jigs. Feels great in the hand. I actually like that little bit longer trigger. This is gonna be something that is a matter of preference. You can see under here though, on the bottom part of that, it's just what they'll say is exposed blank. I'm guessing that's probably a deal that slips on here, but still you're gonna be in contact with, you know, that hood cover, that blank. Very comfortable in hand, but I know some people don't like a longer reel seat trigger here. My old man, for example, likes one that's real small. And just to kind of show you in comparison, one of my older Powell rods, this is the 3D Max. My old man loves these. Look at this. Itsy bitsy little tiny. Look, it's just barely bigger than my finger. Tiny little trigger. He loves that. Compare that to this, you can see the difference. One's just about the size of my thumb. This one much bigger. So that's really just a personal preference deal. I like them when they're a little bit longer like that. I feel nice and secure. I feel 100% locked in. So if I'm really wrenching, my fingers and my hands aren't gonna come off. I'm catching there nice and solid. With the LFS on there, it's got a good balance point, just barely above that first little ring right there, right where the rod tightens up. Great balance feel on it. Doesn't feel tip heavy at all. That feels like a good combo. XT Pro, like I said, for 100 bucks. Out of the package, feels great. Extremely comfortable. I do actually like how there's nothing here. You can get up real close to the reel. If you have smaller hands, this would definitely benefit you. There's not a bunch of extra material down here, especially if you want to palm your reel. I know some people kind of hold the trigger deal like this or something, but I'm always someone who palms it. So the trigger is going to go between my ring finger and pinky most of the time. There's a couple rods that I have, and it seems like the older rods, this trigger was back farther, so I used to hold it with my pinky in front of it. But now most of the rods that I have, I can hold it just like this, extremely comfortable. I can feel the line when I'm fishing here, and it's so much more sensitive. When you hold your finger here and feel the line, you've always got direct connection to that line and that bait. But in my opinion, this is gonna be an amazing do-it-all kind of just everything combo. Of course, need to get it out and fish it, but I like it. Okay, the last rod in the unboxing and my second rod from Halo. This is the KS2 Elite. Now I want to say this is like a $170 rod, but again, I got a deal on getting both of these together. Ooh, that's bright. Check that out. That's kind of cool. It's got like a reflective green up in there. I like that. Now this is a 7'2" heavy rated for lures 3/8 up to 1 ounce. So again, like I said before, that's what always makes it tough to kind of recommend stuff. So, okay. So you can see all the ratings there. 7'2" heavy. Like I said before, 7'2" is my absolute favorite. A little bit different reel seat here. You notice this is a little bit more aerodynamic looking. This all appears to be graphite though. Not a real big deal to me. I'm just tightening on, once, as long as it all holds steady. Not a big deal. Now the actual trigger, the reel seat here and everything, the underside does look a little bit different. It doesn't have that longer trigger. And it does seem to be extended here kind of a little bit. So we'll see how that feels in hand with the reel on it. It's got the cork grips, again, kind of contoured. I like that. Going back into some lime green EVA. And the butt is a lime green EVA on there as well. Check this out. They have their halo emblem. That's pretty cool. So they do say the blank on this one is made from the highest grade nanofiber carbon paired with high-end stainless steel guides and zirconia inserts. This has a custom 2-finger reel seat that exposes a portion of the blank that heightens the transition of the bite to the hand. I know so many rod places say that, and I know some guys are complete sticklers on that of they want to have an open blank here, right, that you're coming into contact with. And if that's the actual blank, great. In my opinion, still, keep a finger on that line. In my opinion, it makes a huge difference for sensitivity. Now, let's check out all the guides. And what I'm looking at when I'm looking in these guides, inside the actual guide, so on the outside here, you can see as the arm bends down to the rod, that's all stainless steel. Inside here, this really shiny black piece, that's the insert. Like this one, it said it was made of zirconia. Some of the, the old ones are just kind of a cheap ceramic, but this is a nice, super smooth material to ensure your line's not getting nicked and cut and such. So I'm checking the front side of that and the back side to make sure there's not any chips, cracks, anything that's gonna be abrasive on my line. If you get a new rod and you haven't checked it, just you're reeling your line in all the time and it's already frayed and weird looking, double check all your inserts. Good chance you've got one that's chipped or cracked. Guides and everything look good. As you can see on this one, not extreme micro guide, but definitely a smaller guide on those. The epoxy and everything, that's something else that I look at, just to make sure there's not a bunch of extra goop and gunk all over. Looks clean. Then again, I always do the test looking down it. Everything on this one and the other one look nice and straight. So what would I pair this up with? This is a little bit softer, heavier power. So this is a great rod for somebody who's just getting into a little bit heavier baits. Say you've always fished like a 1/4 ounce, that's your heaviest, and you want to move up into jigs, 3/8 of an ounce, maybe 1/2 ounce is the absolute heaviest you're going to throw. Something like this would be great. A heavy power, rated for lures up to 1 ounce or up to 1 1/4 ounce. It's not a meat stick, it's not super heavy. You can see here with this one, balance point's already right there, so it's already back a decent ways without a reel on there. Of course, the reel is going to bring that closer back here. So a kind of a great all-around rod for that. And again, that's going to kind of depend on the lure weight that I'm using and the cover I'm around. If I'm not around any cover, no grass, no sticks, nothing, you don't need a super heavy rod. But once you hook a fish in the middle of a bush or in the middle of a tree, you've got to have power to be able to help get that fish turned, get their head turned and get it out, because if they drill way down in there, there's a good chance you're going to break that fish off. So for this one, just for example, I had that KVD reel from Lou's here next to me. Let's put this one on, see how it looks. Okay, from a color standpoint, I know the folks that like stuff to match are triggered right now. Green and black doesn't really go with that maroon, but we see with the reel on there, check out that balance. Halo has a good balance on their rods right there, right in front of where the reel screws in right there. Nice look to it, good balance on it. Let's see in-hand feel. Okay, interesting. Now this was one I was talking about. That triggers back a little bit farther. So if you have larger hands, you're gonna like this. Now this isn't 100% uncomfortable to me, but you can see there it does space out those fingers more. So it's not like some of the others where I had the exact same grip and these fingers were all together. This one does spread them out just a little bit more. So if you have larger hands, this would probably be a rod you'd wanna look at. Now for me, this is probably one I'm going to end up holding with my pinky in front of it most of the time, unless I'm just casting and reeling, but that's something you want to think about. Otherwise, feels good in hand. All right, fishing friends, that's going to do it for today. Comment below and let me know what you thought. What do you think of these Halo rods? Have you used them? Any experience? I'm actually really excited to use this $100 one. The feel in hand is great, and I know for a lot of people that $100 price point for a rod is kind of that sweet spot. You don't want to go over that, and this rod has good balance, feels great in hand. I'm excited to put it to use. So comment below and let me know what you think. Or if there's some other sort of rods around $100 that you really want to see, comment below and let me know. I'd be happy to pick up a couple more. Now, I'm probably done on the gear stuff for a while, especially for rods. I might pick up a couple reels that I've been wanting to try, but I've got a bunch of rods to be testing. I'm going to try to go out and do some casting tests. Otherwise, we're going to be iced up, so it's going to have to be next year. But comment below and let me know what you think. I've also got some more of those kind of rod reel line relationship. I've had a bunch of people asking for that. You know, what lures would you throw on this type of rod, line, reel, all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited and happy to do some of those for you. But enough for me today. Today's subscribed fishing friend is Blue Dragon Hobbies. Thank you so much, sir, for watching and commenting. I've been seeing you comment a lot lately, so I appreciate that. And again, thank you everybody else so much for watching, supporting. It means a ton to me. Oh yeah, comment below and let me know what you think of those frogs too. Which one would you throw? I love all of them. But anyway, enough for me. I gotta get to editing, so thank you all so much for watching, and until next time.